I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Hear you.
Nice. We're ready.
Needless to say, we have a lot to talk about David Beckham.
David Beckham.
David Beckham. Because you watched it, and then we talked about it briefly a couple weeks ago. And then
Yeah.
we would watch it, and we devoured it.
Yeah.
They're the
It
best.
didn't stand a chance in the binge watching.
Chelsea's not a big like watcher of things. I would
Yeah.
yeah, but she's not like a come home and throw on the TV type person.
Yeah, yeah.
And then to have it be like a soccer doc, sort of,
Was
was,
even more not her jam,
but it took about 5 minutes to be pretty hooked.
right?
It was really, really good.
It's so good. I just love seeing it from beginning to end, his entire life.
Yeah,
It was just not what I expected. It was way different than I expected.
yeah,
Was it like that for you?
yeah. Because, well, okay. First, what do you remember? Like, when did he be like come onto your radar, or like when did you first know who that was? Who David Beckham was? Like, what do you remember?
Um, yeah, I just remember. So 1998, I would have been 16, and that's when him and Victoria were in Paris together. And I just remember seeing that on the tabloids and them being in Paris together, not knowing really anything. I knew he was a soccer player,
Yeah,
but more so, I knew about Posh Spice and I knew how famous she was and I knew how like cool she looked.
yeah.
She had a very unique look and like face.
The
And
nose.
then you enter this guy and you're like, wait a minute, whoa, what?
Yeah.
Am I a teenage girl that has feelings for a guy?
Was that your first
Baby.
crush? Was that your first like famous guy crush?
No, my first famous guy crush was Jonathan Taylor Thomas, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I wish it was something cooler, but we watched Home Improvement with my parents. So the odds of me actually being attracted to someone normal at a young age was not high.
Yeah. I
You
think
know,
Gwen Stefani was like my first uh, big crush,
celebrity crush.
celebrity crush. But I did think Posh was pretty
Hot.
hot. Um,
Jenna's first crush was Gwen too. How odd.
I mean, it should be everyone's, but
Right. It's like David Beckham and Gwen Stefani. It's
yeah,
like everyone had their moment with them, right?
yeah. Or side note, or Gavin Rosdale.
Oh
And
no, that was Jenna's.
I was listening to a podcast a couple of weeks ago, or I don't remember, it was a while ago, and he was being interviewed, and it's just like they're all standing around talking in the kitchen
Uh,
or something, and the guy was like, "How old are you?" And Gavin Ross
Gavin.
was like, "I'm 58," and they were like, "What? You're gorgeous." Still. And then our friends went and saw Bush like last week or a few days ago in Washington, and they were posting videos of him. He's
Yeah.
still like
Hunting.
stunning. He's a very stunning. He still has
Yeah.
hair. He's in like perfect shape. Uh, I was just like, holy crap! I can't believe this guy is 58 years old and he looks incredible.
Wow, that's crazy. I just remember going to a friend's house visiting, actually here,
Yeah.
and we went in her bedroom and she had a picture of Gavin Rosdale on the ceiling. And I was like, okay. And Jenna was like immediately, Jenna was like, oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, I'm down. And I was like, what? She was all into that. Gwen and him, like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh, that was like her.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like with David Beckham, like I knew, I think everyone knows who he is. They know exactly the
Oh, so
story.
I remember him, but it was like I think media is different here.
Yeah.
sports are different here. So remember Poshmore, and then he was just like a soccer star. But what is a soccer star to like an American when they're
Yeah.
I'm the same age as you, so like 16 years old. It's just didn't
Right.
um so then going to the doc, it was like you realize how much of it you remember, but you don't actually totally know the story.
Yes.
And then now being older and have been 15 years into being like a massive soccer fan, and
Yeah.
I've gone and seen Beckham play when he was with LA.
Oh, wow.
I still didn't like and I knew, like bits of the Manchester United era, the Real Madrid
Yeah.
era. I knew about those era, but I had no idea like the stories behind it, or like putting it into that storyline, or just everything that happened at every stop along the way was like I had no idea.
Yeah. And I think it was kind of like mind blowing. Like one of the things that like surprised me the most was like, yes, absolutely. They had like the one incident, right, in their relationship, no, no good. However, I do feel like for him, learning that he was like a diehard family man, that was the impression I got, right? Like he just wanted to be with his wife, he wanted to be with his kids, he hated being apart from them. He still loves being with everybody together as a family, having dinner, whatever. And I think sometimes you are like certain celebrities, you're like, oh, fame really changed them, or like you
Yeah.
think like they're probably a weirdo. And they probably are kind of, but even so, like he seems very, at such a young age, how do you pick
Yeah.
out a girl from TV and be like, oh yeah, I'm going to marry her. And then you get married to her and they're still married in that construct of celebrityism.
Yeah.
That was huge.
And
So
her
I love that part. Like learning about that part of him was like so interesting.
and it would be interesting too, because he's famous. It's like he's famous in one part of the world, like he's famous in England, obviously, but then he's famous probably in other markets around soccer. But she's like world famous and America famous, so that's like a
Yeah.
whole different. So then
Yeah.
two famous people in totally different ways. She doesn't really like soccer that much. That was kind of
Right.
funny.
That was funny.
But the family thing we picked up on, like remember like 5 or 6 years ago, the Beckham motorcycle trip that he did. We watched the show where he did like a motorcycle trip, I think in South America or somewhere.
Uh-huh.
But it was like you picked up a lot of their relationship because it was like him getting ready to leave and he didn't want to leave her, didn't want to leave the kid. And
Oh,
he seemed like a family man just from that. So then to see it
yeah.
more like drawn out onto that part of it was pretty interesting.
Yeah. I really, it was one of the most like shocking as far as emotionally how involved you get that I think I've watched in a long time. Like I did not expect to be that emotional watching. So like what were your thoughts on the whole time frame of like people being so over the top, like the whole place, stadium, like booing him, and like how he even like now as an older guy, like it still was like a visceral reaction when they were talking about it. Like he still gets worked up about it, and like it's so disappointing,
I
hard
did,
for him to talk.
I did love that he holds grudges, sort of like
Yeah, he was like,
his mom
yeah,
grudges.
that was
That's
really
funny.
cute.
Yeah.
The
Uh,
mom was amazing.
so following the sport and following particularly English uh, football, uh, it's an interesting thing to play because he plays for Manchester at the time. He played for Manchester United, which is like one of the biggest
Real.
teams in the world, like of any sport. Manchester
Yeah,
United
yeah,
is like giant. And then you're on a team with um, legends like Cantona and all those guys.
yeah,
But then you go play for England it's like if you're a West Ham fan, you don't like David Beckham, but then you're
Mm,
English and you're rooting for England, you are a huge David Beckham fan because he's on your, so now you're like, so if you win in that arena or you do well or you try or people respect you,
yeah,
you gain favor with people who hate Manchester United, but they
but they love
you
that.
because you're English and you did well for England. Conversely, what happened to him, which was um it was I get it. I get the anger or the frustration with him at what he did in that um situation, but the visceralness, like how strongly
Yeah,
a whole country will hate you for a long period of time. It's just different there with
yeah,
sports, and especially the World Cup and national,
yeah.
like it's just, it was
Well,
pretty
you
wild.
feel like you feel it amping up. You know, like what's at stake. Like the whole time you're watching it, I felt like there was numerous times where
Yeah.
you're like, oh God, if this goes bad, I'm gonna like have to go in the bathroom and throw up, just like
Mhm.
David probably wanted to. And then you are watching it, and then when it does go bad, it is that weird feeling of like, oh my God. And then it shows the scenes of like people in the bar and they're just like sobbing. Like
Yeah.
their life is over because of this.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, all right, that's upsetting. And then 5 years later, it's like probably like the same kid went from 5 years old to like 25. And he's still like, I hate David. And you're like, oh,
Well, it's like if you ever saw the scenes in Argentina after
yeah,
after they won the World Cup this year, Messi is like a god in Argentina. And the Buenos Aires was just flooded with like millions of people. That's
yeah,
when it goes right. So if it goes wrong, think
oh,
of the opposite of millions of people cheering your name and you can't go anywhere because people are obsessed with you.
yeah,
Then have it be you did something, you got a red card against Argentina. Um, in that situation, you're gonna just be hated. And the thing they touched on it a little bit um, with Argentina, but like the Falkland Islands, there's these islands in off of Argentina that were British territory. They tried to take them back, and then
yeah,
like hundreds of Argentinians died, and like 40 British people died, and Britain held on to those islands. So it's like with soccer, like in the World Cup and stuff, it's not just like teams versus teams. This is like settling scores, sort of, for other
you
things.
mean like on a deeper level of settling?
It's like yeah, like we're gonna get them at the World Cup. So then you have what happened, and side note, I cannot stand what's his name, Diego, the the,
Diego?
the Argentinian, because he's a coach now, and he coached. He might still be Inter Milan's coach. I cannot stand his style. I don't like how he. It's like he took how he was as a player and then made it how he coaches, and it
Yeah.
drives me crazy.
Okay.
So I don't like him very much. And then
Yeah.
see that dynamic was interesting.
Some of the coaches definitely seemed like they were like actually just like not good people. Like you just were like the because I think because well maybe it's the Argentinian guy seemed like he got like almost like overly emotional about everything, and that's what made him be so mean and like aggressive towards David even though they had like probably could have been good. And then like his first coach, the guy from Manchester United, the older guy, the way he treated him after like years of being like a father figure. I
yeah,
felt like that was like super depressing.
yeah, I think there's like a mentality to a coach. It's like this is your job. These players. You want a certain result, and it has to be your way.
Yeah.
And he has a lot of respect, so the players all kind of fell into that line. And then you get a guy who's flashy,
Yeah.
is distracted seemingly, even though he wasn't. Like he
He
worked so
wasn't.
hard. It's
Yeah.
he didn't fit that mold of like this is the kind of player I want.
Yeah. I didn't like that whole I didn't like that vibe of like him being like, I want you to be focused on like what I want you to be focused about. Like I felt like that was like a little bit like over the top controlling. And I was like, are a lot of coaches that way, or is that just him?
I
And
think
then like with the Diego guy, well, you were talking about the Diego guy if you want to go back to that.
I don't know how he is as a coach as far as what he wants from his players. I know um like Liverpool's coach Klopp has a style, Jose Mourinho has a style, Pep Guardiola, all these guys have different styles that aren't
Yeah.
maybe so exacting as far as people's personal life. But Alex Ferguson like wanted a type of player, had a type of system.
Yeah.
I think he even said he didn't really want guys with like girlfriends or like it
Mhm.
was like
Yeah,
he
he was
just wanted,
saying that.
yeah. So it's like that was his style and that's what worked for him. And then when you see results when you do it that way, and someone you feel like someone's a threat to your to like what your
System.
results were.
Yeah, because it definitely seemed like he had a system. I felt like, as a rule, I feel like I understand when sport players lose their cool and they like make a mistake and then everybody's pissed off. Like, I get it. Like, I would be mad. But I feel like for some reason with David Beckham, probably because of insane jealousy over his good looks and body, I would only assume that people would love to find like a reason, like to
Yeah.
be mad or whatever. Do you know what I mean? It was like Posh Spice. I don't remember her ever having like a moment, except for in Argentina when they had that little blip where she's like, I don't know what to eat here. And everybody was like, you don't know what to eat here. Like they picked
Yeah.
one little stupid thing and they ran with it for a second.
Oh, in Spain
Or,
where they were
or
like
yeah,
when she's like she doesn't like it here and all this
she
stuff.
doesn't like it here. Yeah. And it was like, no, like they overdid that.
Yeah.
But then I feel like she never really ever got the like hatred or picked on the way that he was. I mean, it was like it seemed so unreasonable.
Yeah, it's
To
just
keep going back and back and back and be like, I just love soccer. I just
yeah.
want to do my best. And I felt so sad for him at certain moments. Truly, like you're giving everything you possibly can and you're actually doing amazing. You're one of the most incredible soccer players in the world. Like watching him play soccer was mind blowing.
Yeah, he
How
was
good he was.
really good. Um, he also had a very like attractive style, like
Yeah, smooth, so smooth.
form. Like just watching him kick a ball is different than most guys kicking a ball. Like there's other guys that were better than him. There's other guys that, but there's like a
Yeah.
style thing with him that was like
Hmm.
he's. It's really fun to watch him.
Yeah.
Like Cristiano Ronaldo's kind of like that, especially from a free kick position or something like that. He's just fun
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
watch because he's got like his form, his style, like everything about it is like really cool to watch. It's like a different thing. Some guys are just brutes and are like physical and
Yeah.
fast, but they're not like kind of graceful. But Beckham just had like a very unique style to him that you could
Yeah.
see. Even if you don't watch soccer, like you can see that he's got something different than a lot of players.
Uh-huh. Do you feel like that's what because like again, I don't really watch soccer that much, but this documentary I wanted to watch because I just was like fascinated about their relationship and how it's like even lasted all this time,
Mm.
but they like have all their kids and blah blah blah. But when every time she talked about him and watching him play, I thought it was so interesting, because she's like, I don't care about soccer, but I just love to watch him do it, and it's like, well, of course you like to watch him do it. I mean, my Lanta, man, woman, and child, world around wants to watch him, but maybe that's what she's talking about, though, is what you're saying, that it's
Yeah,
more like just the way he is with it, right? It's just like
yeah,
another type of animal.
yeah,
How
yeah,
did you feel
probably.
about his money and like how he was talking about how like I like nice things and how he was like
Hmm.
showing his closet and how everything was so separated and like definitely a little bit of like OCD going on.
OCD. Oh yeah, like the way he cleans the kitchen, cleans everything. Like he stays up late. Everyone, like he'll cook. Everyone goes to bed, and then he like
He's like,
meticulous
I'm up
every,
like till 3 in the morning cleaning. I was like, whoa.
or that he organizes his closet that way.
Yeah.
I think what's funny about him is I've always thought of him as a pretty boy, and then watching that, it's like totally a pretty boy, but I still like him. I think,
Yeah.
and I don't like Manchester United, and I don't like any of the teams he's ever played on. Uh,
Yeah.
but just you have to like when someone's that good, that kind of transcends, a
Yeah.
lot of things.
Well, and you could tell too, like just like you were saying, it was more than just a obviously he loved Manchester United because of his dad, right? The way that his dad like went on and on, just worked
What do you think of that relationship? What do you think of his dad?
so weird. Like his dad, I think, is probably a little psycho. His mom is more the supportive, loving one who sees it from afar and is like, we still need to be supportive. But the
But is
dad,
he
I
David
think,
Beckham?
huh?
Is he David Beckham if his dad isn't like that?
Right. No,
Yeah.
that's the dynamic is like it made him be who he is.
Yeah.
But I definitely think his dad is a psycho
Yeah.
in the most loving way. I think his dad is a psycho, but his mom was the one that had to be like, no, he needs love, he needs support, all those things. And she was, like you said, holding the grudge. Numerous times I felt like throughout, she would be like, it can still make me cry when I think about it, like him being treated badly,
Yeah.
and when they would tell the dad things that David said, do you feel that you acted like this towards David? And he would just be like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
But then it's like showing him in the yard when he's like in a diaper and he's like, try it again,
Yeah.
you
Well, it's
knew
like
there was an obsession there.
yeah. If David like Beckham drove a truck and had like a drug problem and didn't talk to his dad much, it'd be like I was wrong. But
Right.
if you're David Beckham and you're like won everywhere you went and played for England,
It's
you're
like, how do you not take some other credit?
you're like I mean, I did it right, right? Like he's
David Beckham is my son.
yeah. It's like you might not like it, but I did create David Beckham, It's like he's vindicated for being
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
by the fact that it worked.
I
But
thought it was crazy how much they moved around. Like when it went on the side of like how Victoria was like, I'm trying to get my kids in school. I'm
yeah,
trying to support my husband. I'm trying to, she gave up her career basically to be a mom and do that. Like kind of.
yeah. Um, I was talking to Chelsea about it because there's a documentary on Steven Gerrard, who's one of my favorite players in
Mm-hmm.
the world. He plays for Liverpool, but he stayed in Liverpool the whole time. Uh,
Okay.
and there was other players, other coaches he wanted to play for, and a couple opportunities to leave, and he stayed. And it's a good documentary, but like there's not a lot of drama there. Like he stayed with
Yeah.
the same team. They had some
Yeah.
highs, they had some lows, and the story kind of. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but with him, like he had that drama with Man U, and he would have stayed with Man U.
Yeah.
With Ferguson, it didn't go well. He left. He goes to Real Madrid. They win with ease, and then they have adversity. And then
Yeah.
I love that storyline of he signed with, he made a plan to go to LA at the end of the season. Um, then Capello's like, you're not playing for Real Madrid again. Like you're not gonna play for this team ever again. And then he just keeps showing up for every practice and training every day. And he has to train by himself because they won't.
When they were like making him do like running around like all alone and like all of his
Yeah,
teammates were like, why are you doing that to him? Like,
yeah.
why? Why
And
do you think that it was like that? Why do you think he treated him that way?
because I think
He
Capello,
felt betrayed.
it's not normal for a player. I think they call it like I forget what the saying is, like a lame duck year or whatever. But it's like there's no, like for Beckham to already commit to another team
Yeah.
while he's still with Real Madrid, even though it's a different league, it's a different country, it's completely separate. Capello is like, then you're not with us anymore. If you're already gone somewhere, like you're not here anymore.
Yeah.
But Beckham, it's like almost the same thing with Manchester United, where it's like Beckham's like, I'm here, I'm
Yeah,
ready,
yeah.
but you're with Victoria. It's like, yeah, but I'm here. Like I'm not
Right.
paying you any less because I have this other thing.
Yeah.
He goes to Real Madrid, and then he sees the writing on the wall. So then he plans to move to LA, and then Capello takes it as like you're not here anymore, and Beckham's like I'm still here, like I'm fully here. Just
Yeah.
'cause I'm doing that later doesn't mean I'm not here now. And then he proved it by training every day, coming back to the team, and then they win the league. So just and then the way he
I think
stuck
his
it out in LA.
commitment, his full on, I think that's what I mean about like the family man thing, the commitment thing. Every single time that he like could have easily been like you, it was more like it was like an emotional thing for him, like where he was like, I want to prove that like I am very committed in
Yeah.
every way, and people would not give him a break. That's what I felt like. Like every time that they were being like, let's say like just unfair or whatever, he didn't even care. He was like, no, like you said, he was still showing up for practice, still doing all the things, even though everyone was treating him some type of way, even though the fans were like booing him for hours and hours during a game, he still played,
He
you
could
know,
have said I'm never playing for England again, but
right,
and been like you guys suck. Like
right.
you would have loved me if I did good, but because I got a red card, you hate me.
You
I'm
hate me.
never gonna play for you again. But he was so excited to come back, even though it was for
Right.
hello. But like, um, and just the fact that so the World Cup's in the summer. So the World
Yeah.
Cup was probably like July, August, and then he comes home, and then the Premier League starts like end of August. So like 4 weeks after you just had the worst situation, you have to literally go on tour of
Oh,
every town in England and just get like destroyed.
totally destroyed. Yeah.
But
That
he
was
took it.
so awful.
Yeah.
The part that also I felt like was super emotional was when like his teammate, I can't remember the guy's name now, but where they had like had a great, you know, he had been away from Victoria and he was really sad and super lonely. And he was surrounded by his teammates, but he was really, really lonely still. And so that one night they went out to eat, remember, and the coach was like seeing them interact. And it was just that
Uh,
they didn't even need to know each other's language. They just were like laughing together and having a moment together and drinking together.
yeah.
So that I think to me, the brotherhood part of it, right? Like everyone feels so. What was the guy?
I think it was Roberto Carlos.
Roberto Carlos.
Because they had
Yeah,
Roberto Carlos on that team. They had Zidane, and then they had Ronaldo, the OG.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was for that part, I think was super interesting because of the way those men were acting about it, the way they were super emotional about it. Like,
Yeah.
he's my brother, like, you're on our team, you're always on our team. Just
Yeah.
because you're leaving doesn't mean that we're going to abandon you, blah, blah, blah. To
Yeah.
me, I felt like that was like, okay, cutie girl. Um, I just love that part. Like I said, emotional, there were emotional moments that I felt like were absolutely, I didn't expect.
Yeah.
Would be like hearing other grown men talk about how they feel about a teammate was very interesting. And I love that dynamic of it.
Yeah. Um, and just and like you, I didn't like. I never have really like, but I don't like the sports team owner
Oh, yeah, yeah,
mentality.
yeah,
It's like
yeah.
it's not. It's like sometimes it's about wanting to just win and do your best, but like the owner of Real, he got Beckham even though they already had I forget his name, but they already had that
Yeah,
position.
they already had that position done, and then they
So
put
then
him
he has to
in the
play out
position.
of position, and then it's like, well, he's not doing well. It's like you're making him learn a new position. Like that's hard to do.
Yeah, yeah. I thought that was really weird.
And then I could not stand. Like I don't like that personality. I couldn't stand Lywicki, the owner of Galaxy. Like his, I
Oh,
just can't stand that. American
Yeah.
sports team owner, arrogant
Oh
thing.
yeah. Oh,
And
he definitely
when
was like, we have Beckham now. Like we
yeah,
have Beckham. It's over. Like we're incredible. And it's like way more, like you said. Like, why are you treating David Beckham like a piece of meat? Like, leave the fans to do
yeah.
that. Okay. We will treat David Beckham like a piece of meat.
Melissa will do that.
Yeah,
Melissa's
I will take that from here. I got it. You don't treat him that way. You treat him like like an amazing sports person. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I just thought
Didn't
it
like
was
that much. And I've never um Landon Donovan is kind of an annoying figure in American soccer.
yeah,
Like he was very loyal to LA. That was cool. He had some amazing moments for the national team, but like after he got out of soccer, he was doing some commentary and he was just kind of a tool bag. Like didn't
oh
really like
really?
very much. So
Oh really?
I wasn't surprised that he kind of aired out um, his feelings on Beckham, not to Beckham. But then just for Beckham, like to be like when Donovan did apologize, he's like, okay, it's over then.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, definitely, definitely like showed a lot about his personality. And then
yeah,
they didn't get into it. Well, they talked about it, but like with the incident,
yeah.
was like that's always been no. I bet you if you asked what people know about David Beckham, one of them would be that he cheated
Cheated on Hush Spice.
on Posh Spice, but he didn't really. He didn't make excuses for it, but they never even actually said what happened. It was
Yeah,
very. He said how he was feeling at the time, but it was
yeah.
almost like they kept it. They have like some semblance
The
of privacy.
privacy. Yeah.
So,
I
um,
like that they did keep it kind of private and made it about like them as actual people and not just about that. You know what I mean? Because it's like their lives were so much bigger, still are so
yeah,
much bigger than that one thing. So it's kind of like why hyper focus on it? Well, that's also because of media, social media. That's what people like. They like the downfall of whatever, whoever.
yeah.
But I definitely like that they kept that more private. It was hilarious to me when they were talking about what Victoria Beckham drove to school, like when she was like, and we were middle class.
Tell the truth.
He's like, tell the
Be
truth.
honest. Be honest.
Yeah, be honest, Victoria. That was so funny how they were like that. Also, I'd like to discuss very briefly their kids and who looks like who. Okay. So, real briefly, and I'd like the listeners to actually weigh in on this.
Okay.
Because my mind is blown. First off, let's start with Cruz. Cruz Beckham. Okay, that's like
They have three kids, right?
they've got three, I think they've got whoa, cutie girl. They've got three boys and a daughter, I'm pretty
Okay.
sure. Let me just double check.
There's Brooklyn,
There's
Cruz.
Brooklyn, there's Cruz, there's
Do you think he
Harper.
named Harp? Do you think they named Cruz after Tom Cruise? Because they were friends in LA.
Maybe. I hope not. I pray not. Okay, so I feel like, I could get so specific about facial features after looking at these children in depth. So Cruz to me is like the the combination. God, it's not gonna focus, is it?
Cruz. I see David with the
Oh, okay. So
blurriness.
I with what?
It's a hair blurry, but it almost just gives you a rough
A
impression.
David feel.
I see. I see David.
Okay, so I see David in that one. Look at I swear, cutie girl. Look at David in the background of that one. Him and his son. So David is the one or David is in the front, Cruz is in the back.
Yeah. Oh,
I don't know why it won't
now I
focus.
see Victoria when you put them
So
next to each other.
Victoria looks like the one in the front, the blonde, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to that one. Okay, that one's Romeo. He's the one that's like playing soccer. Like, and in the
Yeah.
end documentary, I think that's who's like
Yeah.
together. You are hurting me. He to me looks like Victoria does.
Which
Like the
one?
kind, this one's Romeo.
Oh, Romeo.
Romeo to me is Victoria all the way. Cruz to me is like the dad all the way.
Yeah.
And
Brooklyn looks
then,
like Brooklyn looks like Victoria, right?
okay, so that's the last one. Let's look up his Instagram. Brooklyn, we're gonna be so fast. Brooklyn to me is exactly both of them together. Like
Oh,
exact.
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And Harper, I don't know. Harper, I don't know where she came from. It's adorable. Also, let's just be real quick again. Cruz, major mom, like nose and lips, or nose and eyes, and the lips are
Yeah.
David.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, she's no slouch herself. She looks great.
She looks incredible.
Yeah.
I was like, what the heck? How did you get hotter from
She's
1992?
not she's not Posh Spice for nothing.
Yeah, no, you're
Posh
right.
Spice there.
No, you're right. You're right. Okay, so Harper, right? Just a cutie little blonde.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to do our songs, but the point is
Great
the
looking
whole
family.
family. I love them all.
Great doc. Great. I mean, we just spent like half an hour talking about how great that documentary was.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
It was amazing because of uh it'd be like hard to write a movie with that much drama, ups and downs, the whole thing. It was just really good. And for a pretty boy, I
Oh my
I do
God,
like
for a
him.
pretty boy. I will be
He's a very
spamming
likable
our
person.
feed to convince people next week why David Beckham is a pretty boy in case they missed it. I mean, I thought the hype was a lot. Like, I was like, there's no way I'm going to watch this documentary. I'm going to be like, yeah, it's like whatever. Wrong. Wrong. I mean, every hairstyle he wore,
He
gorgeous.
definitely has the Cristiano Ronaldo effect, which is he's getting much better with age. Because when he
Yeah.
was young, he was not.
He could be like kind of all like borderline where you're like, are you going to end up looking kind of derpy?
Yeah,
No,
no.
big time wrong. Ronaldo too. Whoa. You
Yeah,
know, it's like,
he's
but let's keep this about David. Let's give him a little respect after what he's been through in life.
yeah. After what he's been through in life, being incredibly handsome, amazing at soccer, and
So
extremely famous
talented.
and rich. Poor,
Right. Poor guy. I mean, but let's give him some
I'll
respect.
light a candle for him.
Oh my God. Okay, three songs. Hit it.
I'm just gonna go one.
Oh, you're
Uh,
going one. Okay, I'll go one. I'll do one.
King of Manchester is not David Beckham. It's
Oh,
Liam Gallagher.
oh my God. Well, you're still on Lee. You're still, it's like
I'm all
the
I'm
people can't get enough of Liam with you.
I know.
It's wild.
I'm gonna go. Let's go Liam's Wall of Glass. First song on his first solo album.
Okay, I'm gonna go Kingston by Faye Webster on
Okay,
the Atlanta Millionaires Club.
cool.
Love it. Okay, well, I'm gonna go watch the documentary again.
All right. I'm gonna
And
go.
I'm glad this is over. So thank God
Yeah,
it's
I'm gonna
over.
go do something productive with my day. Oh,
Bye.
Liverpool.